Life for Elliot Godfrey was nearly perfect. A carefully constructed balance of work, family, and personal well-being. He had achieved a level of contentment that many only dream of. Fit, happy, and a new father to baby Alfie, the newest and brightest star in his universe. That summer, the family holiday was filled with laughter and sun, a time to create lasting memories. A snapshot of joy, a moment perfectly preserved in time. But as the trip ended, an ominous shadow began to creep into Elliot's idyllic world. Elliot was hit by a relentless headache, a throbbing pain that seemed to come from nowhere. Used to pushing through pain, both physical and mental, Elliot initially dismissed it. He blamed dehydration or new parent fatigue, the common culprits of modern life. Yet this pain was different, sharper, more persistent than anything he had experienced before. Intense, unyielding, and immune to remedies, offering no escape or relief. The migraine followed him home, an uninvited guest that refused to leave, making sleep and focus impossible, disrupting his daily routine and peace of mind. He rationalized it as stress, the price of a busy, happy life, a temporary inconvenience. But the ache grew, intensifying its grip on his life. A shadow over his days, stealing his energy and joy, dimming the light in his eyes. The man who once thrived on challenge now found himself challenged by something he couldn't simply overcome with willpower. Now struggled with a simple headache, a seemingly insignificant ailment that was slowly unraveling his life. Anxiety crept in, a silent whisper of unease that grew louder with each passing day. Even as he tried to hide it from his family, putting on a brave face for their sake, the easy explanations wore thin, failing to account for the severity and persistence of the pain. The pain refused to be ignored, demanding attention and forcing him to confront the possibility of something more serious. Something was wrong, deeply, unmistakably wrong, a feeling that settled in his bones. The holiday glow faded, replaced by the stark reality of his present suffering, replaced by a gnawing fear, a constant companion that whispered doubts and anxieties. Elliot's world, once so certain, so predictable, so full of promise, was about to change forever, irrevocably altered by an unseen force. Sometimes the body's quietest warnings are the most urgent, the subtle signals that something is amiss. For Elliot, the storm had arrived, brewing on the horizon and now crashing down upon him. Uninvited, unstoppable, a force of nature that threatened to consume everything in its path, and nothing would ever be the same. The life he knew was about to be redefined. New parenthood is often portrayed as a joyous, picture-perfect experience, but the reality? Sleepless nights become the norm, endless tasks pile up, and constant fatigue settles in like a permanent houseguest. For Elliot and Kelly, headaches and a persistent mental fog felt normal, just another part of the daily chaos. Symptoms like his increasingly frequent migraines were easy to dismiss, chalked up to stress or simply a chronic lack of sleep. As a new father shouldering the responsibilities of a provider, Elliot felt an immense pressure to project strength, to push through and ignore his own pain and discomfort. All too often, parents instinctively put their own health and well-being last, prioritizing their child's every need and concern above their own. Doctor visits and checkups for Alfie were meticulously scheduled and never missed, but Elliot's own health concerns and suffering were consistently postponed. "I'll get it checked out when things finally calm down," he repeatedly told himself. Though realistically, things never truly did. This is a tragically common trap. We normalize our pain, rationalize away concerning symptoms, and ultimately delay seeking necessary medical care. Elliot's story serves as a stark warning. Sometimes what we casually dismiss as mere stress is, in reality, a symptom of something far more serious and insidious. The deceptive mask of parenthood can effectively hide dangerous underlying realities. By the time the truth finally emerges, the underlying condition may have already taken a firm hold. Elliot's migraine was not simply a nuisance or inconvenience. It was a critical warning signal from his body. Ignoring it nearly allowed a sinister illness to grow unchecked and undetected. In the constant rush of caring for the needs of others, don't ever forget the vital importance of caring for yourself. Sometimes the single bravest thing a parent can do is to acknowledge their own needs and ask for help. Alfie's first birthday should have been pure joy. The house was filled with laughter and cake and celebration. Elliot tried to hide his pain, determined not to let the headache ruin the day, but friends noticed, the winces, the way he shielded his eyes from the light. Concerned, they pulled him aside. "This isn't just stress. "You need to see a doctor." Their intervention broke through his denial. Sometimes it takes loved ones to make us face the truth. Elliot realized he couldn't ignore the pain any longer. The love for his son and the fear in his friends' voices pushed him to act. He promised to seek help, not just for himself, but for his family. That birthday party became a turning point. The celebration of life became the start of a fight for survival. Sometimes the greatest gift is the courage to face what scares us most. Elliot's journey toward answers began that day. The next step would change everything. And it all started with a friend's honest concern. Urged by friends, Elliot saw a doctor and underwent a brain scan. The diagnosis: glioblastoma, an aggressive, invasive brain cancer. Glioblastoma is notorious for its tentacle-like spread, making it nearly impossible to remove completely. Even with surgery, chemo, and radiation, survival is often measured in months. For a healthy young father, the news was shattering. The migraine was not stress, it was the sound of a tumor growing. Suddenly the future was uncertain, the horizon terrifyingly close. Elliot's world was upended in an instant. He was no longer just a father and husband, he was a patient facing a terminal diagnosis. The fight for time, for hope, had begun. A terminal diagnosis fractures time and reality. Elliot's shock gave way to grief, not for himself, but for the moments with his family he might lose. Kelly, his wife, became his anchor, strong, loving, and fiercely supportive. Together they faced the darkness, determined to fight as a team. Friends and family rallied, offering meals, childcare, and emotional support. Their community became a lifeline, easing the burden of illness. Coping meant finding a new normal, cherishing the present, making joyful memories, and refusing to let cancer define every day. They celebrated small victories, laughed through tears, and held on to hope. Love became their shield against despair. Elliot's story is a testament to the power of family and community. Even in the face of terminal illness, resilience and love can light the way. They chose to live fully no matter how uncertain the future. Together they found strength in each other. Glioblastoma treatment is aggressive surgery, then weeks of radiation and chemotherapy. Surgery removes as much tumor as possible, but microscopic cells always remain. Radiation and chemo attack what's left, but the toll is heavy and the cancer often returns. For many, standard care only buys time. Desperate for more, families search for hope in clinical trials and experimental therapies. Immunotherapy and personalized vaccines like DC-Vax offer new possibilities, though often at great cost and outside standard protocols. Elliot and Kelly researched every option, looking abroad for treatments that might extend his life. The financial burden was immense, but for a father, every extra day mattered. The search for hope became their new mission. They refused to give up, exploring every avenue. In the fight against glioblastoma, innovation is both a lifeline and a challenge. For Elliot, hope meant never stopping the search for more time. The battle was as much about possibility as it was about medicine. Elliot's fight is shared by many, including public figures who brought attention to glioblastoma. Baroness Tessa Jowell's advocacy in the UK led to increased funding and awareness. Her courage inspired a national conversation about brain cancer. Tom Parker of The Wanted shared his journey openly, showing that glioblastoma can strike anyone. His story resonated with young families and fans, breaking the silence around terminal illness. These public battles highlight the urgent need for research and better treatments. Behind every statistic is a family, a community, a life interrupted. Stories like Tessa's and Tom's amplify the call for change. They remind us that hope and advocacy matter. Elliot's journey is part of a larger fight for progress. Every voice, every story brings us closer to a cure. Faced with terminal cancer, Elliot chose to fight with everything he had. He ran, trained, and focused on his health, turning exercise into defiance. Every step was a statement. He was still here, still strong. He adopted a strict, nutrient-rich diet, cut out sugar, and explored supplements. This proactive approach gave him a sense of control and purpose. Elliot's positivity became his armor, protecting his spirit through grueling treatments. He cherished every moment with his family, living fully despite the prognosis. His tenacity is a lesson in resilience. He became an active participant in his own survival. Training his body, fueling his mind, and nurturing hope became his daily mission. Elliot's holistic fight was for more time, more memories, more sunrises. He refused to let cancer define his days. His story is proof that attitude and action matter, even in the darkest times. For Elliot, every day was worth fighting for. Elliot's battle, a deeply personal struggle, soon became a public mission, a beacon of hope for others facing similar challenges. It all began when he and his family, driven by an unwavering determination, launched a fundraising campaign. The goal was ambitious: to raise funds for experimental treatment, pushing the boundaries of medical science in search of a breakthrough. The community's response was overwhelming, a testament to the power of human connection and empathy. Donations, both large and small, poured in, each one representing a vote of confidence and a shared desire to make a difference. Messages of support, filled with encouragement and solidarity, poured in from every corner. Their story, shared with raw honesty and vulnerability, raised awareness about glioblastoma, a particularly aggressive form of brain cancer. It highlighted the desperate need for new therapies, innovative approaches, and increased funding for research. Driven by a desire to help others, Elliot and Kelly became advocates, lending their voices to a cause greater than themselves. They began using their voice to educate the public, inspire change within the medical community, and push for policy reforms. Their fight was no longer just personal. It had transformed into a mission to improve the lives of countless others. It was for every family touched by brain cancer, offering them hope, support, and a sense of community. At the heart of it all was Elliot's unwavering love for his family, the driving force behind his courageous battle. Especially his son, Alfie, who became a symbol of hope and a reminder of what truly matters in life. He fought tirelessly to create lasting memories, moments of joy and connection that would be cherished forever. He wanted to show Alfie what courage and love look like, even in the face of unimaginable adversity. Elliot's message is one of hope, a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of times, light can still be found. Cherish your health, for it is a precious gift that should never be taken for granted. Listen to your body, paying attention to its signals and seeking help when needed, and never take a day for granted, for each one is a unique opportunity to experience joy, connection, and purpose. Even in the face of terminal illness, when the odds seem insurmountable, life can still be lived with purpose and joy, finding meaning in every moment and cherishing the connections that sustain us. His story is a testament to the strength of family, the unwavering support and unconditional love that can carry us through the darkest of times. It highlights the kindness of community, the willingness to come together and offer support to those in need. And it underscores the power of hope, the unwavering belief that even in the face of adversity, a brighter future is possible. Elliot continues to fight, his spirit unbroken, his determination unwavering. He is leaving a legacy of love and resilience, inspiring others to face their own challenges with courage and grace. His journey inspires others to live bravely, to embrace each day with gratitude and purpose, to love fiercely without reservation, cherishing the connections that enrich our lives, and to never give up, to persevere through adversity, knowing that even in the darkest of times, hope remains. In the end, when all else fades away, hope is the greatest gift we can give, a beacon of light that guides us through the dark